This airline is currently in the stages of retiring this aircraft. It's the Virgin Australia Boeing 777-300ER.
This could be us. So back to what I was saying. Could be us.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Review, where today we will be taking a closer look at the Virgin Australia Boeing 777-300ER from Sky 500 in the 1 to 500 scale. On the front of the box we have the Sky 500 as well as the Virgin Australia branding, and we also have a cutout in the box where we can see the top part of the model. Moving on to the back of the box, there isn't very much to see apart from the Sky 500 in Virgin Australia as well as the Boeing branding. Now here she is, the Virgin Australia Boeing 777-300 in the 1 to 500 scale. But before we take a closer look at this aircraft, let's take a look at what this aircraft does for Virgin Australia. This aircraft with the registration code Victor Hotel-Victor Papa Hotel was delivered to Virgin Australia in November 2010, where it has stayed with the airline ever since. It was 1 out of 5 Boeing 777s to be delivered to the company back in 2010. Now, due to the airline going into voluntary administration earlier in the year, the current owner of Virgin Australia has decided to sell on their long-range aircraft like the Boeing 777 as well as the Airbus A330. These Boeing 777s mainly fly the long-haul international routes, mainly between Australia and the USA. But without further ado, let's take a closer look at this model. The back of the plane, on the vertical stabilizer, we have the Virgin Australia branding. Moving up the plane, we have the rear doors as well as the full registration code of the aircraft as well as the cargo doors down below. Moving up the plane, we have the emergency exit doors over the wings as well as the emergency exit on top of the wings. Moving up the plane, we also have the Virgin Australia written on the side of the plane as well as the doors to the front of the plane, as well as the cockpit, which looks very nice indeed. Moving on to the wings of the plane, Sky 500 have done a very good job with the wings, and you can see all the flaps, slabs and spoilers carved out very nicely indeed. Moving on to the engines, Virgin Australia have decided to leave them all white, apart from a red and grey line that runs around the engines. Sky 500 have done a very good job with the engines, and if you look closely inside the engines, you can see the engine fan blades. Moving on to the rear landing gear, I would have liked to see a little bit more detail with the rear landing gear. Apart from that, it is pretty good, and it's quite a different story for the front landing gear with lots of detail into the front landing gear, with even the last 2 letters of the full registration code on the front landing gear. Now let's head to the summary. Like always, we are judging the model of 4 key elements, I believe, that make a good model. The first being the box. I believe Sky 500's boxes aren't very good, with very minimal detail of the model and just an overall not a great format. Just there's not much detail about the model as said, so that's why I give the box for this model 1 out of 5. Moving on to the mould for this model, I believe Virgin Australia's mould for the Boeing 777 is very good from Sky 500 with no real big issues to the mould. That's why I give the mould for this model a 4 out of 5. Moving on to the detail for this model, and I believe this is where Sky 500 could have done a better job with at the back side of the fuselage in between the wings and the vertical stabilizer. There could have been a little bit more detail. That's why I give the detail for this model a 4 out of 5. Moving on to the realism of this model, apart from the fact that there is some minor details missing, there isn't too much to fault when looking at the real life image shown on screen now. That's why I give the realism for this model a 4 out of 5, which gives the total score for this Virgin Australia Boeing 777-300ER from Sky 500 a 13 out of 20. But apart from that, that concludes this episode of review. If you liked this episode of review, make sure you hit the like button, and if you're new around here, why don't you check out my other episodes of review and also hit subscribe while you're at it. Apart from that, that's HB Aviation signing out.